This page is the front cover of Dreamcast Magazine. It features Sega's Dreamcast console with the headline, "The official #1 Dreamcast Mag." The cover promotes reviews of Tennis 2K2, Floygan Brothers, and Headhunter. There's also a mention of an Ultimate Dreamcast Bundle Special, and guides for Virtua Fighter and MSR. A tennis player is shown mid-swing, adding to the sporty theme. This page screams cheat codes and walkthroughs for a plethora of games. Cheats Unlimited promises to be the world's #1 choice for guides, boasting over 10,000 tips and tricks. They have cheat codes for games such as Alone in the Dark 4, various Resident Evil and Biohazard games, Crazy Taxi, Sonic Adventure, and Virtua Fighter 2000. There's a phone number to call for help, depending on your age and location. The magazine is boasting of its hundreds of quality walkthrough guides, and the fact that their content is compiled by gaming experts oh so humble. This page is all about Dreamcast games available from GameStation. There's a plethora of titles including F355 Challenge, Magforce Racing, Jet Set Radio, Spider-Man, Soldier of Fortune, Soul Calibur, and Crazy Taxi. Plus there are even more titles to catch the eye, such as Super Runabout, Urban Chaos, Star Wars Demolition, Power Stone, San Francisco Rush 2049, and Jedi Power Battles. The bargains don't stop there, with Toy Story 2, Sydney Olympics 2000, Four-Wheel Thunder, Worldwide Soccer 2000, Jeremy McGrath, and Dead or Alive 2. At the bottom is an order form, and even the chance to get a free catalogue. Better ring that number quick. On the right, the magazine jumps into its contents with an exclusive review of Headhunter. There are also featured reviews for Tennis 2K2, Floygan Brothers, and Capcom vs SNK2. The Interact section is spotlighted, with highlights on Mailbox, Dreamcast Solutions, and complete Virtua Fighter 3 TB guide, plus all your usual magazine regular features. This page from Dreamcast Magazine is dedicated to Super Monkey Ball, a Dreamcast-turned-GameCube launch title that apparently took Japan by storm. The article highlights the game's precision controls, calling it Precision Ball Control, and the addictive nature of guiding a monkey in a ball through increasingly complex pathways. It mentions the physics of the ball being realistic, the challenge of accounting for momentum, and the added pressure of a 1-minute timer for each level. The magazine touches upon single-player and multiplayer modes, including unlocking minigames like monkey bowling, racing, and billiards. The reviewer even claims Monkey Billiards is the finest snooker game ever. Finally, a small section is dedicated to the staff involved with the creation of the game. This page has a feature on Evil Twin, Cyprian's Chronicles, questioning its disappearing act on the Dreamcast. The author expresses anticipation for the PAL release, calling it a potential swan song title for the console. They made Rayman 2. Its appearance on the PS2 was a bit iffy, but, quite apart from that, no one outside of Rare or Nintendo has managed to create as playable. The article playfully states that Ubisoft is adept at taking the humble platformer and cranking up gameplay to hand-numbing levels. There's concern over the game's potential release given the already meager Dreamcast schedule, and, bizarrely, the official site disavowing knowledge of the Dreamcast version. The page also features a DCTV segment about Tennis 2K2 fat ladies, describing it as posh girls swapping meals for a knockabout on the tennis court. Additionally, there is advertising for Paragon Publishing, promoting magazines like DVD Review with Halloween specials and comedy DVDs like AbFab, Blackadder and Carry On, Gear Magazine with gadgets and extreme sports, and P2 Magazine promising GTA 3 content and a retrospective on the first year of the PlayStation 2. The page wraps up by advertising the website www.totalgames.net for Dreamcast tips, cheats, and solutions. This page is an advert for ICB, a robotic dog, alongside a promotion for coolest answer phone greetings ever, where you can download ringtones. It includes information on how to enter a virtual walkathon to win an exclusive ICB ringtone, plus lists of codes for answer phone messages from categories like Top 20, Music, Movies, and People, including recordings from Ali G, Mission Impossible, and Elvis Presley. There are also some silly greetings. The next page kicks off with a bargain basement section, highlighting Dreamcast deals at Amazon and Electronics Boutique. Amazon offers games like Shadow Man and Revolt for a steal. Electronics Boutique has some ace bargains if you look hard enough. Then it moves into In Your Dreams, a retrospective look at old games, this month focusing on Outrun, waxing lyrical about its speed and addictive gameplay, and pointing out you can even play Outrun on the Dreamcast if you have Shenmue 2. The main feature is titled, "Somebody Has to Do It Properly," comparing Sega GT 2002 on the Xbox to Gran Turismo on the PlayStation. The reviewer seems quite taken with Sega GT, suggesting it could be an Xbox system seller, and notes you can pick up the original Sega GT for peanuts. Lastly, there's an advert for mobile phones and accessories, featuring ringtones, graphics, and a free gift with issue 2 of Mobile M8 magazine. There's mention of student downloads, 3 grams gaming, and the Orange Tour amongst the phone-related content. This page showcases UK charts update, sponsored by spuk.com. Electronics Boutique promotes Dreamcast bargains, plus an EB guide to Getting Real, addressing the September 11th tragedy and its impact on game releases. There's a UK release schedule listing titles like Evil Twin, Headhunter, Tennis 2K2, and Shenmue 2. The top 10 sellers on eb.uk.com include Soldier of Fortune, Sonic Adventure 2, Virtua Tennis and Crazy Taxi 2. Most wanted games, like Tennis 2K2 and Bomberman Online get a look in, and a GameCube is hyped as a pixelated pleasure. Also included are ringtones, graphics and other stuff. A list of artists and songs, and TV shows like Dawson's Creek, Neighbours and films, such as Mission Impossible, James Bond and more. Finally, there is a wrestling list. This page features The Games, reviewing and rating the latest Dreamcast releases. A reviews editorial from Martin Mathers bids farewell with a heartfelt message and reminisces about his journey as games editor. Tennis 2K2 takes center stage, with the reviewer pondering if a sequel would ever arrive. The Dream Team section introduces various team members with playful descriptions, including Simon Phillips, who sits on a golden throne, and Rob Sullivan, who actually does some work. Chandra Nayar's news editor role apparently impacts his sex life. Dreamcast Opinion breaks down reviews into bite-sized chunks, with segments like The Judgment and Second Opinion. The Dreamcast rating system assigns scores for visuals, sounds, gameplay and value, culminating in a final percentage. The games Headhunter, Floygan Brothers, and Capcom vs. SNK2 are also discussed, with Headhunter receiving high praise. There is also a Dreamcast scoring system, out of 100. This page presents a review of Tennis 2K2. Lamenting the wind and rain outside, the reviewer suggests enjoying strawberries and cream and getting ready for the game. The review notes improved graphics and the inclusion of female players, like the Williams sisters, Monica Seals, and Lindsay Davenport. Players, such as Pat Rafter, Thomas Inquist, and Magnus Norman are missing. Also no sign of Agassi and Sampras. The gameplay has been tweaked, with the new slice/spin button replacing the lob button, allowing for drop shots. The reviewer mentions the ability to play a full 5-set match and notes a more challenging difficulty level. The game modes remain the same: Arcade, Exhibition, and World Circuit. There is a side panel mentioning you don't need to check the weather forecast while Wimbledon is on, as it's almost guaranteed to rain. The next page continues the review of Tennis 2K2. The reviewer humorously comments that falling over isn't the best way to win, then highlights the ability to create male and female players with extensive customization options. Jack Aqua. The World Circuit mode's objective remains the same: to become the world number 1. The training minigames, like Danger Flags and Disc Shooter, are noted as challenging. Players can improve their rackets, power, angle and control, and purchase new outfits. Characters like King and Queen can be unlocked by completing the World Circuit. The reviewer mentions the graphics have been improved, and that the game speed has been increased, demanding quicker reactions. This page features a review of Virtua Tennis 2K2 for the Dreamcast, giving it an impressive 95% rating. The reviewer notes improved graphics and gameplay, though mentions the removal of crowd movement and the addition of some questionable music. A Second Opinion praises the game as a worthy sequel. The review includes a Dreamcast rating breakdown: visuals 94%, sounds 85%, gameplay 97%, and value 95%. The page also showcases screenshots from the game. Adjacent to this is an advert for Cube magazine, which features launch titles for the GameCube. It teases reviews, interviews, and launch title reveals for games like Soul Calibur 2, Rogue Leader, Smash Bros., Zelda, Mario Sunshine, Resident Evil, and Rune. It poses the question, who said cubes have to be square? Accompanied by an image of Mario. This page dives into a review of the Dreamcast game Headhunter, which the reviewer believes could be one of the console's last great titles. The storyline is set in a dystopian 21st century California, where body organs are commodities, and the protagonist, Jack Wade, is an ex-headhunter embroiled in a mission following the death of Chris Stern. The gameplay is a mix of Metal Gear Solid-style stealth, Resident Evil-esque puzzles, and blasting. The reviewer praises and muses attention to the plot and mission structure. There's an info burst section with quirky facts, like headhunting being illegal in Britain since 1863, a quip about losing your head, and a slightly sarcastic take on executive recruitment. The review includes screenshots and details about the game's publisher, developer, release date, price, genre, player count, and peripheral support. The next page continues the Headhunter review, focusing on gameplay elements. It highlights how a mix of stealth and cunning is better than going in guns blazing, with options for sneaking and using the environment. The combat system is praised for its ease of use, especially the first-person perspective switch. The review also touches on the motorbike riding sections, calling them surprisingly high quality and almost a game in themselves. The reviewer also mentions some downsides, such as confusing camera angles and questionable enemy AI. The page also includes the Dreamcast Magazine's The Judgment section, scoring Headhunter highly, with heads praising the visuals and mission variety, while tails notes odd camera angles and enemy AI. It finishes with an alternatively section recommending Resident Evil Code, Veronica, and Blue Stinger, along with their Dreamcast Magazine ratings. The final verdict is an impressive 92% score, along with their Dreamcast Magazine ratings. This page is a review of the game Floygan Brothers for the Dreamcast. The review starts with the line, "Take this, gamer, may it serve you well." It describes the game as a light-hearted and off-the-wall puzzle game. The review mentions that the game revolves around two brothers, Moigel and Hoigel Floygan, where you play as Hoigel, helping his less intelligent brother with his secret project by collecting items around the junkyard and defending the family turf from the evil Baron Marlodorus. The game features 13 areas to explore, puzzles, and interactions with Moigel that can influence the gameplay, like making him angry to use him to reach inaccessible areas. It also mentions mini-games that earn you points to help progress. The review highlights the fact that you can't die in the game, and instead you just stagger around when bitten by spiders. It praises the innovative gameplay, high-quality voice acting, and fantastic animation, concluding that the game is graphically rich. There are also screenshots of the game with Moigel and Hoigel. The InfoBurst section gives advice to students about using junkyards. A section on minigames is also included, as well as a verdict on the game's brilliance. This page continues the review of Floygan Brothers for the Dreamcast, and starts by noting the main element of gameplay is sadly missing, with the reviewer finding it repetitive. The cartoon style and graphics are praised, but the overall consensus is that the game lacks lasting appeal. The review includes a judgment section with funky and junky points, with funky aspects being the animation, originality, and fun minigames, whereas junky points are the last ability, frustration due to unclear instructions, and limited appeal to kids. There's also a second opinion which remarks the game is tremendous fun, but incredibly short. Alternative games are suggested, like 102 Dalmatians, Puppies to the Rescue, and Donald Duck, Quack Attack. The Dreamcast rating provides scores: visuals at 89%, sounds at 80%, gameplay at 50%, and value at 60%, giving an overall score of 71%. The page features screenshots of the game with Moigel and Hoigel, and there is a small text box at the bottom which summarizes, "Nice idea, good for kids, but don't expect days and days of challenging gameplay." Finally, the page includes an advertisement for Gear magazine, featuring a woman yelling and promoting gadgets, toys, sports, music, and activities. The phrase, "tested to destruction," is present with some images of quad bikes, micro-scooters, cameras, hi-fis, and radio control cars. This page is a review of Capcom vs SNK2 for the Dreamcast. The reviewer feels that Capcom is releasing yet another beat-em-up as the Dreamcast is ending, but acknowledges it may not be a bad thing. The reviewer expresses frustration with sequels that are slight variations of the original, and finds Capcom's graphics to be blocky and pixelated, especially when using a high-quality VGA monitor. The backgrounds are praised for their detail, contrasting with the old-school characters. The reviewer also criticizes the music. The page mentions that Capcom vs SNK2 marks the last game Capcom will release for the Dreamcast, and the PlayStation 2 version makes it worse for Dreamcast owners. The reviewer also mentions, the game includes 44 fighters and notes that players will potentially face Rugal or Gookie depending on their skills during the game. The page includes screenshots of the game, featuring characters such as Gookie, Sagat, Relento, Dalsim and Balrog, and the text mentions characters such as Kyo and Blanca, and contains the tagline, "A powerful console like the DC demands more than just the same old visuals that we've seen before," which sadly is what Capcom is producing. The next page features a review of Capcom vs SNK2 for the Dreamcast, where the reviewer acknowledges the game's shortcomings, like dated graphics and lack of originality. Despite these complaints, they admit it's a great beat-em-up. The review discusses the different groove playing styles, including C groove, A groove, P groove, S groove, N groove, and K groove, each with unique abilities. The reviewer says the game overhauls the original with more freedom for players. You can also expect to face off against Kaio and Yuri in the game. Joss. The page also includes alternative beat-em-up recommendations, like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and Street Fighter 2 Third Strike. The Dreamcast rating gives it a 92% score, and it's summarized as uninspired and lacking originality, but still the best in the genre. The page also includes an advert for Trading Card World, a magazine dedicated to trading cards, with full color guides, news, and price guides. This page presents a variety of imported games, accessories, and merchandise available via mail order, inviting customers to send a stamped self-addressed envelope for a full price list. The page advertises a range of products, including Pocket Station downloads, PlayStation imports like Guitar Freaks, Dex Drive, and an MP3 adapter for the PSX. Also featured is Final Fantasy merchandise, Dreamcast joypad adapters, and a PS Flash P S2 VGA box. Beat Mania Pocket is also promoted, along with GBA imports and various Japanese soundtracks. There is an advert for the game Virtua Fighter 3 TB as the Ultimate Dreamcast bundle. The page also has a Stuff and Nonsense section, which covers a range of items. The games MSR and Capcom vs SNK2 are advertised. Chibi. This page is the Interact Mailbox section of Dreamcast Magazine. It starts with a letter section that offers a free copy of Sega's latest football game, 90 minutes, for every letter printed. Readers are discussing various topics. One reader laments the demise of the official Dreamcast magazine, while another defends Sega. Games like Sonic Adventure, Outrigger, and Shenmue are mentioned. One reader expresses frustration with online play costs. The page features responses to readers' letters from the magazine's staff. One reader asks about a PlayStation 2 game review in a Dreamcast magazine. Another asks about manager games for the Dreamcast. The staff responds sarcastically to a reader's odd comment about pasties and jam. There are mentions of games like Resident Evil, Code Veronica, and Metal Gear Solid. The page also includes a reader's trip down memory lane, recalling past magazine content. Recast. This page is a reader review section of Interact, featuring 4 games. The first is Crazy Taxi, a racing/driving game developed by Sega, with the reviewer enjoying the game despite disagreeing with the 94% rating. Next is Marvel vs. Capcom 2, a beat-em-up developed by Capcom, with the reviewer praising its arcade-perfect conversions and large character roster. Dead or Alive 2, another beat-em-up, is reviewed, with the reviewer praising the absorbing gameplay. Lastly, Choo Choo Rocket, a puzzle game developed by Sega, is reviewed, with the reviewer noting the game's unique mechanics. The page also includes ads for adult chat lines, wind-up calls, and videogamecompany.com, the latter offering a wide selection of Saturn and Dreamcast games, accessories, and import titles. Another ad section showcases a range of games and accessories from Telegames, including Atari Jaguar and Lynx consoles, PC Engine GT, and a Game Boy Advance game called Backtrack. Overall percentages are shown for each game, with Dead or Alive 2 scoring 93%, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 with 90%, Choo Choo Rocket with 80%, and Crazy Taxi with 79%. Linkagru. The next page is a section called Interact DC Online. It discusses various websites, starting with Duck Soup, describing a bizarre cartoon series about Ralph the Duck. The film section recommends movies like Snooch to the Nooch, Rockstar, and Sounds Familiar. The music section features bands like Stained and Statics, and the artist Chandra. The page also includes a section called Ladies, recommending websites for pretty ladies, muscly ladies, and desperate ladies. The comedy section recommends websites featuring Mr. Winkle, Panties for Men, and Stupid Animals. Lastly, The Weird section lists peculiar sites about donkeys, serial killers, and pointy sticks. An advert for the Dreamcast magazine, promising the future of home entertainment. Also featured is an advert for Dreamcast Game Helpline. This page presents Dreamcast solutions, filled with cheats and unlockables. Sonic Adventure 2 offers tips to unlock kart racing mode, 2-player car racing, boss time attack, and story mode movies. Shenmue offers advice for fighting in 70-person battles and how to earn extra money, alongside tips for winning on the slot machines. Fighting Force 2 provides cheat codes for level selection, fireworks mode, and a comprehensive incoming cheat mode. Resident Evil Code Veronica has instructions for unlocking battle mode, first-person view, alternate Claire, linear launcher, rocket launcher, Steve Burnside, and Albert Wesker in battle mode. Trickstyle offers instructions for infinite time, power-up moves, big head mode, and how to unlock the speedboard, combat board and trick board, as well as a quick start. The next page features an Inter at CT competition, where readers could win an Ultimate Dreamcast bundle worth £100. To enter, participants needed to answer 3 questions and complete a tiebreaker sentence, sending their answers on a postcard by January 31, 2002. The questions cover Sonic, the Hedgehog games, the meaning of Sega, and the arcade game playable in the R360 cabinet. The prize includes a Dreamcast console, controller, VM unit, and copies of Metropolis Street Racer, Jet Set Radio, and Virtua Fighter 3 TB-DO. The right side of the page is an advertisement for the original Xbox, with the slogan, "It's coming," and a release date of 15.1.1.01. There are images relating to the game's passion, love, sex, money, violence, religion, injustice, and death. The Xbox logo is prominently displayed. This page is the questions and answers section of Dreamcast magazine. Readers have sent in queries about various games, and the magazine's team provides solutions. First, someone needs help in Skies of Arcadia, and the solution is to catch the mysterious person instead of simply following them. Next, someone is struggling with Virtua Tennis, and the magazine emphasizes there are no simple button press cheats, only secret costumes, and ultimate players unlockable through skill. A reader seeks advice for MDK2, specifically defeating Schwang. The advice involves shooting him in the face, dodging blasts, using the sniper scope, and hitting spheres on the levers. For Sonic Adventure 2, Knuckles is running out of air while swimming, and the advice is to move quickly, collect air bubbles, or find a passage to a flooded tunnel with an item for unlimited underwater breathing. Another reader needs help with 2 Eyebleed, stuck on the home run of death level, and the magazine advises running away from Jimmy's father, dodging his attacks, and shutting down the remote-controlled monster. Finally, a reader is struggling with Soul Reaver, and the advice is to find one more set of pipes to open in order to smash the final glass cover. The right side of the page features a list of game walkthroughs and cheat guides available by phone, from titles like A Bug's Life to Vigilante 82nd. The next page is a guide to Virtua Fighter 3 TB on the Dreamcast, which has come directly from the arcade. The page covers the fighters, moves, and cheats. It includes essential information like the publisher, Sega, developer, AM2, release date, out now, price, £39.99, genre, beat MUP, and player count, 2. It uses the VM unit for saving, and supports arcade sticks and jump packs as peripherals. The guide then goes into Dreamcast features and modes, such as setting match variables, number of rounds, and CPU difficulty. Team Battle mode separates the Dreamcast version from the arcade counterpart. You can choose 3 characters and fight in tag team style bouts. A normal mode is also available where you can fight through the remaining opponents, and even take on Dural. Other features include a training mode, versus records for game statistics and character analysis, a history mode with movies related to VF3TB, and the ability to change your character's outfit. The page also explains how to play as Dural, and the Alphabet Man with specific button combinations. The page also has a control guide, explaining the moves on the joypad and custom button configurations. This page is a player's guide for Aoi Uminokoji from Virtua Fighter 3 TB, highlighting her background as a new addition to the roster, with connections to the tournament through her father and Akira's father. It notes her speed and combo ability, comparing her to Pai-chan or Sarah Bryant, while acknowledging her lack of power. The guide details 10 of Aoi's moves, including knee chop, attack reversal, joint smasher, elbow smash, and double blow follow-up, along with their button combinations and descriptions. It also suggests strategies for playing as AOI, emphasizing fast attacks and keeping distance against bigger opponents. The page features screenshots of AOI performing various moves and a complete move list with methods for general and throwing attacks. The next page provides a player's guide for Akira Yuki from Virtua Fighter, detailing his background as a tournament winner and his father's demanding expectations. It notes his reliance on counterattacks. The guide highlights 10 of Akira's moves, including reversal attack, palm lunge, palm stunner, leaping kick, and moving elbow, with their button combinations and descriptions. It advises mastering blocking and counterattacking. The page features screenshots of Akira performing moves and a complete move list, with methods for general and throwing attacks. There's also an info burst section, commenting on Akira being a challenging character. It also states that it takes time to master Akira's moves, but that his strength and power will make it worthwhile, stating his main weakness lies in a mediocre selection of rising attacks, advising players to keep him on top. This page offers a player's guide for Jackie Bryant in Virtua Fighter. It explains his motivation for entering the tournament is to rescue his brainwashed sister, Sarah, from the clutches of the enemy. The guide highlights 10 of Jackie's moves, such as knuckle follow-up, sliding heel kick, clothesline, jab into sweep, and evading kick, providing button combinations and descriptions. It recommends mixing sweeps with punching attacks. The page features screenshots of Jackie performing these moves. The guide suggests that Jackie's attacks are simple and easy to perform, yet they are some of the most damaging in the game, describing him as deadly in the right hands. There is a complete move list, detailing methods for general and throwing attacks. An infoburst section describes Jackie as Sarah's brother, but that they will still batter each other when they come up against each other. The next page is a player's guide for Jeffrey McWild in Virtua Fighter. Jeffrey is after the prize money to buy a new boat and battle the shark that's terrorizing his home. Jeffrey is described as the classic power character with hard-hitting moves. The page highlights 10 of his moves with button combinations and descriptions, like twin punch into uppercut, headbutt, shoulder ram, and pile driver, complete with screenshots. Also featured is a complete move list, detailing methods for general and throwing attacks. An infoburst section notes Jeffrey's advantage is power, requiring only a couple of attacks in quick succession to finish off opponents. This page is a player's guide for Kagemaru in Virtua Fighter 3 TB. Kage has a mission to save his mother, who was transformed into Dural. The guide describes him as a good all-rounder. 10 of Kage's moves are highlighted with button combinations and descriptions, like lunging kick, backflip, forward roll into sweep, and rising punch. There's a complete move list detailing general and throwing attacks. An infoburst section suggests using Kage against offensive opponents, as he has moves to counter the best attacks. The guide suggests, use Kage to learn the way VF3TB works, and you won't go far wrong. The next page features Lao Chan in Virtua Fighter 3 TB, a perfect character for novice and expert players alike. It notes his similarity to his daughter Pai, with strong punching combos and throws. Law is described as slightly slower but more powerful than Pei. The guide highlights 10 of Law's moves with button combinations, such as punching rage and flying kick. It also details a complete move list. According to the text, in the second Virtua Fighter tournament, Lao lost to Akira in the final, and he is now trying to restore his restaurant's reputation. This page provides a guide to Lion Rafale in Virtua Fighter 3 TB, highlighting his unorthodox fighting style. Lion is described as a young, French high school student who collects knives and practices mantis-style kung fu. The page outlines 10 of his moves, providing button combinations and explaining their advantages, like the lunge punch for closing distance or the triple punch for overwhelming opponents. A complete move list is also included. Lion's backstory is mentioned. After losing to Kagemaru in his first tournament, he's determined to prove himself. This page continues with the Virtua Fighter 3 TB guide, now focusing on Pai Chan. It mentions she lost to her father in the second tournament and her fast fighting style. Bizadzar. The page details 10 of Pai's moves with button combinations and descriptions, like the quick kick, thrusting punch, and the speed sweep. A complete move list is also included, with general attacks and throwing attacks. Some screenshots of Pai's in action are shown demonstrating these moves. It also states Pai Chan is a good character for beginner players. Warrington moves. The next page provides a guide to Sarah Bryant in Virtua Fighter 3 TB, detailing her backstory and her fighting style. Apparently she was brainwashed in the second tournament. It highlights her speed and tricky attacks. There's a breakdown of 10 specific moves, with button combinations and screenshots, such as the dashing knee lift, the over-the-head suplex, and the illusion kick. A complete move list outlines her general and throwing attacks, with button combinations. This page offers a guide for Shundi in Virtua Fighter 3 TB. It delves into his backstory, revealing he's searching for a former disciple. We're told his drunken fist style is surprisingly effective, not just a comical mess. 10 moves are showcased with button combinations and accompanying screenshots, including punch barrage, swig of drink, and lunging double fist. The page wraps up with a complete move list, covering both general and throwing attacks. This page is a player's guide for Takarashi in Virtua Fighter 3 TB. It introduces him as a famous sumo wrestler whose name is synonymous with a brutal fighting style, frowned upon by sumo elders. Apparently his power comes at the expense of speed. The guide details 10 of Takarashi's moves with button combinations and screenshots. The moves include the ultimate 6-punch combo, hip throw, and knee blow. The page concludes with a complete move list for Takarashi, with general attacks like punch punch into sumo slap, and throwing attacks like hip throw and lunging forward throw. The next page is a player's guide for Wolf Hawkfield in Virtua Fighter 3 TB. He is described as a Canadian wrestler, living in his native Canada using the forces of nature as his training aids, whose fighting style is pro wrestling. The guide details 10 of Wolf's moves, with button combinations and screenshots. The moves include twin punch into elbow smash, flash suplex, and rolling kick. The page concludes with a complete move list for Wolf, with general attacks like punch twin punch into elbow smash, and throwing attacks like vertical suplex, body smash, and rotating swinger. This page is a player's guide for Metropolis Street Racer on the Dreamcast. The page features a red MSR car as its main image, and includes sections like Start Your Engines, which discusses earning vehicles, and recommends the MG, due to its British origins, and its usefulness in early chapters. The page also contains control schemes for the game, and tips for getting started, and showcases other cars like the Fiat Barchetta and Mazda MX-5. It's a handy guide to get players into the world of intense driving. The next page offers a player's guide to Metropolis Street Racer. It delves into various challenges, offering tips and tricks to enhance the gaming experience. The guide covers hot lap challenges, where players race against their ghost car, and timed run challenges, where they complete laps within a set time while avoiding slow-moving traffic. It also emphasizes earning kudos by driving well and avoiding penalties, while offering tips on mastering handbrake turns for style points. There's even a section on general challenges that combines skills such as overtaking and maintaining speed. This page is a continuation of the Metropolis Street Racer Guide, covering topics like the Pars the Star, where players must beat a target time to earn kudos, one-on-one races against opponents, and advice on choosing the right car for your playstyle. It also covers It's a Knockout, a mode where players can double their points using jokers. The guide offers street race tips for multiplayer modes and then goes on to championship events. The page lists lap time records set by Bizarre Creations' Kevin Riley. The listed racetracks are Great George Street East 2, St James Park Short, Trafalgar East, Trafalgar Short, Houses of Parliament South, Westminster Short, Embarcadero East, Fisherman's Wharf Medium, and Shwadori Higashi, Shinjuku Short. The next page features the Dreamcast Mag Directory, a guide to Dreamcast games. It lists games, their publishers, number of players, VM compatibility, online capabilities, useful peripherals, issue reviewed in Aula, and a rating. Some reviewed games include 18-Wheeler, American Pro Trucker, 102 Dalmatians, Puppies to the Rescue, Four-Wheel Thunder, and Aerowings 2, All Strike. There's also a What's That All About, eh? section defining the columns. A list of the magazine's reviewers appears on the left, including names such as Damien Butt, Ryan Butt, Simon Can, and Neriz Coward. Please provide the text you would like me to summarize. Hanayin Kuto, Tol Modol Bim Halibin. This page features two sections, Videos and Import Directory. The Videos section reviews a few films, Planet of the Apes, judged to be a bit of a letdown despite the special effects getting a 4/5. Bridget Jones' Diary isn't faring much better, getting a 2/5. Finally, Doris Day Young at Heart / The Thrill of It All / Lover Come Back gets a slightly better 3/5. The import directory lists import games with details on their publisher, player count, VM compatibility, online play, supported peripherals, issue number, and rating. Games mentioned include Aero Dancing F, Alien Front Online, and Atari Anniversary Pack. The next page showcases a box office section reviewing Zoolander, praising Ben Stiller's comedic genius and awarding it 5/5. Joyride gets a 3/5, finding the plot a bit uninspired. The game directory lists various Dreamcast games with their publisher, player count, online and peripheral support, issue number, and rating. Games include Tomb Raider Chronicles, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, Toy Commander, Wafer Dream Soccer, and Urban Chaos. The reviewers' opinions are also given for each game. The rest of the page is filled with adverts, including a mobile phone service promotion. It advertises sexy all-new graphics and ringtones, with a phone number for orders and a website. It also lists top 20 and A to Z 100 ringtone titles, such as Blow Your Mind, Turn Off the Light, Airwolf, and Benny Hill 2, a Game On. Advert for Dreamcast titles offers a £5 voucher for games priced £29.99 or over. Various Dreamcast game titles are shown, including Sonic Adventure, Daytona USA 2001, Outrigger. This page is a chaotic spread of adverts and cheat codes. Inspector Cheats offers cheat codes for over 4,000 games, listing titles from Aero Wings to Zork 2i, alongside a mysterious trench coat-clad figure, with phone numbers for calling to get the cheats. Next to this is an advertisement for Gametron Exchange, buying and selling retro consoles and games, such as the Dreamcast. An ad for L8 Shop promotes mobile phone covers and accessories, while another ad for New Age consoles lists Dreamcast and other console titles for sale. A final advert shouts about Cheats Unlimited, who offer over 10,000 cheats and tips, and phone numbers for different age groups. Finally, Cheattones advertises ringtones and logos for phones. This page is a mixed bag of stuff and nonsense, featuring gadgets that range from somewhat useful to utterly pointless. The items include the PhotoYep MP3 player with picture display, Insectobots interactive insect toys, the CDJ 1000 Candelas turntable for DJS, and the Beatman Mini CD/MP3 player. Also featured are a monocular telescope, sarcastic and affirmation balls, Kodak's Advantix preview camera, a TFT LCD monitor, and a double-barrel elastic band gun. The overall tone suggests a playful critique of consumer gadgets, questioning their necessity while acknowledging their entertainment value. The next page features the cover of Dreamcast Magazine issue 28, with a focus on Shenmue 2. The cover highlights upcoming reviews for games like Rez, Ooga Booga, Cosmic Smash, 90 Minutes, Bomberman Online, and Matt Hoffman's Pro BMX. It also teases solutions for Headhunter in the next issue. The promise of cheats, tips, and hints for other games, such as Tennis 2K2, Capcom vs SNK2, and Floygan Brothers, suggests a packed issue. The page also includes a reservation form for newsagents. Corrington. The next page presents a back issues and subscriptions advertisement for Dreamcast Magazine. It lists a range of past issues with featured games and reviews, including Crazy Taxi, Dead or Alive 2, Rally 2, MDK2, and many more. Some issues are marked as sold out. The page also provides subscription details, contact information, and a form to order back issues or subscribe, enticing readers with a save cash offer. A direct debit instruction form and check/credit card payment options are available for subscriptions, along with a back issues order form. This page features an advert for Dreamcast games and accessories, with a focus on the game Alien Front Online. There's a call to action to order via phone or online. Games such as Soldier of Fortune, Tee-Off, and Ready to Rumble 2 are also promoted. A table lists many best-selling Dreamcast games like Four Wheel Thunder, Alone in the Dark 4, Carrier, Crazy Taxi, Headhunter, Incoming, Jet Set Radio, San Francisco Rush 2049, and Silent Scope. Some accessories include visual memory units, SCART leads, and controllers. Game Boy Advance accessories in games are also advertised, with exclusive deals at special reserve. Some of the games listed include Bomberman Tournament, Castlevania, Doom, GT Championship, Mario Kart Advance, Rayman Advance, Sonic the Hedgehog, and X-Men, Reign of Apocalypse. Towards the bottom of the page is a competition for gamerday.co.uk and a shout-out to ukcheats.com. Offers from Special Reserve are mentioned, highlighting free gifts with purchases. Lastly, contact details for advertising, production, licensing, subscriptions, and directors of Dreamcast Magazine are provided.